Hello, class.
Hi.
Okay. Well, we're going to start a new subject today. We're going to study a piece of artwork that came from a very important historical period. It's called Migrant Mother. There's a picture of it. It's by an artist by the name of Dorothea Lange. It's actually a photograph. I think you might have seen it in some books. Yeah. I mentioned it's from an important part of history. Do you remember by any chance what that might have come from?
The Great Depression?
Excellent, that's right. So you already know some things about this photograph, right?
A little bit.
Great. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a sheet before we start doing our reading. It's called a KWL sheet. It stands for K is know, so what do I know? The W is what do I want to learn? And the L is for learned, so it's what I learned. We're going to go through this step by step as we do some of the reading, but before we start any reading, I want to give that to you and just get you to start thinking about what you already know. So in that first column, what you would do is say, I know it's a photograph, so you can write, it is a photograph. Right? And you can just keep going like that with any facts that you know about this or the Great Depression, okay?
Okay.
All right, I'll come around and check on everyone. All right, looks like you're getting finished there. Excellent. You want to read one of the facts that you already knew?
Like you said, it's from the Great Depression, and then also, although they were facing hardships, they still had each other to lean on.
Wow, that's a good observation. You know, art is about empathy, so when you look at this photograph, it's important to see what some of those expressions might be telling us. And you're right, she has her children leaning on her, doesn't she? So that's good. Well, we're going to go into the next section. So we've already talked about what you know. Just, you know, when you read sometimes, do you feel like you have to reread it because you didn't really pay a whole lot of attention or something?
Yeah.
It happens all the time. Don't feel bad because it happens to me too, and I'm the teacher, right? So what we're doing is we're kind of getting you to start thinking about what you'd like to learn from the article, and you'll start looking for those things when you read it, right?
Okay.
So the second column here, now we filled out the first one, is what I want to know.
Okay.
What do you want to know about this photograph, or how it fits into history, or anything like that? Just go ahead and write some questions down, and I'll come around and check on everyone.
Okay.
All right, you all finished with that one too?
Mm-hmm.
Great. You want to read a couple of questions or one of them for me?
How much did the photographer get to know about that family? And are there other photos like it?
Oh, those are good questions, yeah. It's certainly something to think about when you start reading, huh? Yeah. And I bet you'll find some answers in there. So that's what we're going to go into next. I'll go ahead and give you the handout for this.
Okay.
Here you go. Now, before you start reading, I'm going to also give you a highlighter.
Okay.
I find these to be a very helpful tool when I'm trying to find what the important facts might be in this. So I've already started one. Do you want to read the first couple of lines for me, Annette?
Sure. The Great Depression was especially hard on farmers. They not only suffered through the national economic crisis, but endured a string of natural disasters, including floods and dust storms that devastated their crops and destroyed their livelihoods.
Very good, thank you. So what I noticed in that, first off, was just the first three words, the Great Depression.
Yeah.
That's the history that we're talking about here. So I went ahead and highlighted that myself, and you can do that too.
Okay.
Now we started talking about maybe what happened to the people in this photo. They were leaning on each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they must be going through something significant. And there's something there in that reading that you just did towards the end that you might want to highlight as well. What would you think that might be?
Towards the end?
Yeah, I think it's right here towards the end of what you just read.
Oh. Maybe they were the farm. She was a farm lady.
Yeah.
And that her crops were destroyed.
Perfect. That you read that part right, huh?
Yeah.
So you might want to highlight right there, just like I did here.
Okay.
Devastated their crops and destroyed their livelihoods.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have you keep going through this, and I'll come around and help you out with a little bit of it, and we'll make sure that you highlight some things, okay?
Okay.
All right. So what did you just highlight there?
The main objective for the photographer going into this area was to demonstrate the need for federal assistance and justify legislation.
Okay, yeah. And then right towards the end there, it has that line about include America to, or I'm sorry, introduce America to Americans, huh?
Yeah.
That's right along with what you were highlighting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you keep reading and just keep making some more highlight notes, and we'll go over that in a minute.
Okay.
Okay, looks like you're finished. You've got it highlighted all the way down to the bottom with some different facts. That's excellent. What was one of the things that stood out to you towards the end of the paper?
That the federal government learned that they weren't able to feed themselves, so they promptly sent 20,000 pounds of food to California migrant workers.
Wow, that's a pretty significant thing, huh? This photograph, or the series it came from, was enough to influence the federal government to help these people out. Not just these people, but people in their situation. And there were a lot of them from what we read, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a really important thing to think about. And so if you'll take out your sheet again, your worksheet that had the 3 columns, perfect. We're going to start getting into the next section, which is what I learned.
Okay.
Now, you made all those highlight notes, and you probably got some facts generated from that. But what did you really feel like you learned? You might have answered some of your questions and what I want to know. Or you might also have just learned things like we just talked about, the federal government ending up helping some of these people because of this piece of artwork.
Okay.
Okay, so just go ahead and write a few things down, and I'll come around and check again. All right, you're finishing up your last couple of notes there.
Mm-hmm.
Great. What were your last 2 points?
That they had pride, strength, and spirit. The migrant workers.
Yeah, so that kind of goes along with what you noticed at the front there, that they leaned on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, the composition of that piece resembles a Renaissance painting.
It did say something about that, didn't it? So we're looking at this as how it helped as a social thing, right? But we're also looking at how it's a piece of artwork. It has composition. If you look at it, here's our main figure, and then she has a child on either side of her, and she's actually holding a child there. So there's a rule of 3 that we've heard about. There's the 3 children, and then there's the balance and the symmetry of this composition as well. That is very much like a classic Renaissance Madonna type painting.
Mm.
So very interesting. Well, there's a lot of things to think about here: the social impacts, the historical impacts, the artwork type of impacts, the expression that's in this. So you learned some great things just reading this, and I want you to keep thinking about those, because as we go on into our next project, it'll be an art project, so a photography project. And you can think about how this was not a piece of history when she took the picture. It was just real life. And when you take pictures, it's just your real life. But one day, it might be a piece of history too.
Cool.